Good morning, team. Thank you so much for jumping on the call today. Listen, we're going through interesting times, right, in our industry, for sure. And today's call is we're still talking about the NAR settlement today, but now I'm going to be moving more into what it means to prepare. It's our time to prepare. So, episode 228, NAR settlement. It's time to prepare is the name of today's call. But before I get into that, I want to remind you of my professional purpose, and that is to help you, the broker advisor, optimize your productivity and help you become the best version of yourself. Why? Because happy brokers sell more real estate. They sell more real estate. And I do that by helping you handle challenges, like we're in the middle of one right now, right? And opportunities that you face every single day. And if you can effectively manage those situations that arise on a daily basis in your business, you'll be more productive and you'll live a life that is the best version of you. And my ask is that you listen today as if you are with me on a one-on-one coaching call, either on the phone or if you're one-on-one with me in my office. Either way, listen in that way. For those of you that are listening on the podcast or on YouTube and you're out walking your dog or in your kitchen or part of your morning ritual, welcome. I'm excited to have all of you with me today. And on this 228th episode of my Monday Morning Pep Talk, I will give you some updated thoughts on this NAR settlement and outline how I think you should prepare for the changes that are coming to our industry mid-summer. I've always asked you to trust the process. And if there was ever a need to have a process to trust, it is now. And in my little part of the internet here, over the course of the coming weeks, we'll focus on your operational processes, okay, which quote unquote is your value. Those are your processes that you'll need to either create if they haven't been created. You'll need to know how to communicate that value and execute to protect your livelihood, and take market share. That's it. Pretty simple, right? We are here to get better. I want to begin with just a few notes to let you know where I am with this whole entire industry development. Okay, had a lot of discussions last week, throughout the week with people about this topic, and here's kind of my updated and brief summary of thoughts. And as we go through these Monday Morning Pep Talks in coming weeks, I'm going to give you my updated thoughts to start, and then I'll get into the content after that. But many of you, as you know, have experienced elevated levels of anxiety around the settlement. Talked about it last week. Again, that's just your brain doing its job. Your brain goes into these fight or flight mechanisms, and those all kicked in last week, right? They all kicked in last week. And because there was so much noise. I mean, you could not have gone on your Instagram, you couldn't have gone on your email without seeing something from somebody that was talking about this last week. And what I'll also say is that if you're listening to this podcast and listening to me, it's probably a sign that you are willing to fight. You're willing to fight for your business and your commissions. If you're not, there's people out there fleeing this discussion, right? They're putting their head in the sand and they're saying, you know what, I'll just deal with it when it's here. I don't want to prepare, whatever, right? There are those people that literally, it's like, when you do your CE, right? Like you wait till the last literally day and you're like, oh, it's a problem now, I'll deal with it then. And there is a significantly high number of people that will wait until July 1st to prepare for this. And it could potentially be too late, at least for that Q3 production. Okay. So anyway, I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're willing to fight for your business and your commissions. Okay. Those brokers that prepare and evolve will do well in this marketplace, and you will take market share. Okay. You just will. Those that don't prepare and evolve will struggle to find their footing. And I really believe too that the word skill is going to be paramount in this discussion. We have always been an industry that has been battling between speed and skill. How can I get it done faster with less effort and work? And speed, 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 taking like the quality of experience out of it for the client. Um, Skill is focusing on the experience. Speed's going to really, really struggle in this new world that we're in now. So I just want to point out that I think the word skill is what has to be top of mind for you as we move into it. And if there was ever a time to work on your skills, it is now. Brokers and brokerages are still sifting through all the changes. Okay. Um, as we move forward, there will be more clarity around gray areas and what all of this means to our industry. I would just ask that you be patient with your brokerage, your local MLS, and each other for that matter. Like I said, there's so much that's going to go down and so much around this topic that we're all going to be getting used to. And nobody has all the answers right now because they're still floating around out there, and the impact of all this has yet to fully come to the surface, if you were to ask me. So be patient. Now, when talking to your clients, I want you to change your wording away from commission, and I want you to start using the phrase professional fee. Okay, words matter. We need to talk about commissions amongst ourselves. Okay, that's how we describe this, within the industry. But when discussing our services we provide, I want you to elevate your words by using professional fee, not commission. Um, Similar to how I teach the word introduction over referral, these are elevated wording structures that show the market that you are different and just different how you operate your business. Professional fee. Okay, write that down. All of you that got your notebooks out, write that down. Okay. The vast majority of your sellers still want the same thing. I hear it, right? They want to sell their home for the highest price in the lowest amount of time. Okay. It is my opinion that your hesitant sellers will quickly realize that to accomplish their goals with the least amount of pain and suffering, they will want to transact with a buyer that is represented. 97% of the transactions in 2023 in Chicago had a buyer agent attached to the transaction. Okay. I'm sure we can all attest unrepresented buyers pose a much higher risk of fallout during the transaction. Okay. On the buy side, you're part therapist and you're that expert communicator that gets that client to the finish line. I think we can all agree on this. And your value to the marketplace has not been displaced. Let me say this to you. Your value to the marketplace has not been displaced. Okay. How you communicate your value and ultimately get paid for your services is what is being disrupted. But your value to the marketplace was not disrupted. If anything, it's been enhanced. It's been enhanced. I'll have further thoughts moving forward, but it's time for me to pivot to coaching and teaching, which is why you're here, right? How timely is it that it is week 13? How timely is it that it is week 13? And you know what I'm talking about if you follow or are inspired by the 12-week year. Week 13 in every quarter is when you review and celebrate your accomplishments of the current quarter and plan for the next quarter. It sets up nicely for you to focus your 2024 Q2 planning around improving your transaction operational processes in preparation for midsummer changes to our industry. Let me say that again. It sets up nicely for you to focus your 2024 Q2 planning around improving your transaction operational processes in preparation for the midsummer changes to our industry. There has been an enormous amount of talk about communicating your value, right? Especially as a broker working with buyers, right? Your value is the processes. Your value are the processes, okay? Don't let the word process scare you, because it's what you already do for your clients, okay? Trust me, I don't come easy to processes. It's not like in my DNA normally, but I have realized very quickly that you have to have them if you want to have a predictable and enjoyable business, okay? Okay. Like I said, don't let the word process scare you, because it's already what you do for your clients. For many of you, those processes are between your ears, and it's time to get them documented. Okay. Documentation is important so you can easily communicate your value. So you can easily communicate your value with and to your clients. It's that documentation that's going to allow you to do that. If this concept of documenting your processes is something that you've put off or is new to you, here are the processes I would suggest you address in Q2 and Q3 of 2024. I would focus on buyers in Q2 and sellers and listings in Q3. Not saying you can't get it all done in one quarter. You can. But I'm just being realistic. We're here in the middle of the selling season. You guys are already working your tail off, but we have to look at this in a little bit more of a long-term view. If you've been listening to my Take Flight content, especially over the last year and a half, hopefully many of you have already taken action. And if you have, you're already way ahead of the game. There's 10 transaction operational processes that make up your business. I'm not talking about the marketing of your business. I'm talking about the transactional processes that make up your business. And number one, they are the buy side and the listing side each have 4 different parts. Okay. On the buy side, you've got the initial consultation process. I'm going to go into more of that next week. Okay. The buyer initial consultation process. This is between when you get the lead and when you have a buyer agency form signed. That process is between those 2 goalposts. Okay. Number 2, the buyer search process. From the moment you get the buyer agency form signed to contract. All right. Buyer agency form to contract. The third area is contract to close for a buyer. From the moment you get it under contract, all of those things that you do to get it to be a successful closing. And then you've got the post-closing process. I like to talk about this on the buy side. This is when you tuck your clients into their new home. Okay. That process of once you close, how you're allowing them to get into their new home, and you tuck them in to their new home. Okay, now we're going to move on to the selling side. Okay, number 5, 6, 7, and 8 on my call here today. Number 5, the listing presentation process. Okay, from the minute you get the lead, that listing presentation to the signed listing agreement. Okay. Number 6, the listing launch process. From the minute you get the signed listing agreement until you go live and have a contract on that property. Okay. So listing agreement to contract, the listing launch. What do you do for your sellers? Number 7, the listing contract close process. All those steps that you go through to get to a successful closing. And then post-closing process for your sellers. And then the last 2 can be put together pretty quickly, and they are your outgoing referral process and your incoming referral process. When you're dealing with, especially at Sothebys International Realty, we have many of you have significant amount of referrals, especially if you're in a second home market, and it's a big part of your game. You want to do that right. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, not in great detail, but still very important. And if done right, super impressive. So if these 10 processes sound familiar, it's because you heard me talk about them last year. It's essentially the entire content of section 4 of Take Flight, which we call systems and processes. If you look on the tracking form, right, the Take Flight uh, progress tracking form that I put out multiple times, it's section 4 where we talk about systems and processes. And team, this is so this is a lot to take in, right? Because all of this is so front of mind to you, I'll go back to these Take Flight topics and address them in detail in the coming weeks and months as we go through these Monday Morning Pep Talks, okay? And I encourage you to transform your business once and for all and make it more predictable, okay? Make it more enjoyable. Make it easier for your clients to understand. If they don't understand what you do, they're going to say no. A confused mind says no. Confused mind says no. So if they're confused about what it is you do, they're not going to want to pay your professional fee. If they don't understand the hundreds of steps that you take them through. Many of us are parents. And we get up and we just parent every day. We don't have documented processes. We don't have documented processes, but we do what we do. But in the world, competitive world that we're in now in real estate brokerage, they're a necessity for you to protect your livelihood and your commissions. Okay. So let's get out of how we used to do things and be thinking differently. I want to give you a little secret here too. I've seen this done well, and it is magic. It is magic. And this is why people's businesses grow, is when they have systems and processes. So I want you to think long term. I want you to think a longer term instead of what's in front of you today. Okay. So to accomplish this, again, we need a longer term view moving forward. And I would like to make it our goal as a group is to transform in 2024 so we can thrive in 2025. Trust me, it's not going to take until 2025 for you to see value. It just won't. You will see immediate value by getting your processes out of your head and documented. To truly thrive, it takes executing the processes consistently over time. And it could take several quarters before they easily become part of your daily operations. So let me suggest a game plan. This is your takeaway from today's call. All right. Week 13, I want you to set your 2024 Q2 goals. That's step number 1. Focus those goals on buyer agency to start. Really learning the scripts, learning the buyer agency forms, learning your initial consultation process, understanding and developing search structures for your clients, helping communicate that, helping them understand what you do between contract and close and how you're going to help them post closing. That's number 1. Focus on buyer agency to start. Number 2, this is really important. Find 1 to 3 accountability partners to navigate these changes with. You need people in your foxhole next to you to navigate this. Okay. There's going to be a lot of role playing that you can do together. Find 1 to 3 other people that you can create an accountability group for the remainder of at least Q2 and Q3, if not longer, and learn together, grow together. You need that. This is a lonely business. Number 3, I want you to schedule a weekly accountability meeting and commit to it and make it non-negotiable. Remember when I was talking about skill? Proving your skills, you can't do it. You can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. Not in these situations. Not where there's this drastic change happening. Right now, be thinking about who you can work with. Find an accountability partner, 1 to 3 of them. And then work together to stay current on the changes coming to the industry. I'm going to do my best here to bring you what I know. But I need you to stay current on all the changes, and then I want you to get to work. You can't put this off. Can't put this off because the changes of the industry and how we need to operate have arrived. They've arrived, and it's time to adapt. And being that you are individual business owners and entrepreneurs, you need to put in the work to earn your professional fees. Okay, we've all agreed that we can call them commissions amongst friends here, but we need to start talking about professional fees. Okay, you need to put the work in to earn your professional fees. And I have been so encouraged by the number of brokers that look at these changes as a real opportunity to grow their businesses and revenue. Change, if handled properly, is good. Change, if handled properly, is good. And I'll do my best to guide you through it. Thanks, team. I'll see you next week.